so sad to the field French hillside as you walk this land.
Well, good evening everyone, and a very happy new year to you. We hope you've had a great start to 2026. Welcome to episode 10 of Ninebarrow Wandering Minstrels, our what's now traditional New Year gathering where we take you out into the great outdoors from the comfort of your own sofa. January is a time of new beginnings, isn't it? But for us, it's always been a tough month. You're still in the darkest part of the year, and the excitement of the winter solstice and Christmas is well behind you, and there's still a heck of a stretch until you reach anything that could be described as spring. So we've kept our Wandering Minstrels episodes as a January thing because we think it's nice for all of us to have something to look forward to, something to kickstart the year, so to speak. Yeah, and goodness me, we are going to give 2026 a proper boot in the behind this evening. We have, as we hope you're coming to expect, got a fantastic evening lined up for you. So let's have a look at what we've got coming up in tonight's show. We take you on a fabulous walk around Dorset Wildlife Trust's newest nature reserve at Liscombe, exploring the past, present and future of this stunning landscape. And after our yomp, John will be having a chat with Dorset Wildlife Trust's head of Wilder Landscapes, Rob Farrington, about the exciting plans that they have for the area. Back in the studio, we have a chat and a cuppa with our good friend and double bassist extraordinaire, John Parker. We'll bring you a song from the Ninebarrow Gig Archive, as well as news about our next live stream and our upcoming three-dimensional spring tour. And we'll also be announcing the musical lineup for our 2027 musical walking holidays. Now, we say it every year, but we really do think that this one is the best yet. Oh, and this year we'll try not to forget to do the draw for the Great Ninebarrow Raffle of 2026. So, without further ado, let's head over to Liscombe and get the show on the road. Welcome back to Dorset, everyone, and welcome to Liscombe Hill. And what a gorgeous morning it is here. It certainly is. One where the crack of dawn's start to make it up here for sunrise was just about worth it. Just about worth it, yes. We are today almost slap bang in the middle of the county in a beautiful area known as the Dorset Downs. Oh, got to love a bit of alliteration there, don't you? And as for the Purbeck Bridgeway, which we took you along in episode 9, it's once again chalk that's responsible for the landscape that we're going to be exploring today. Yeah, chalk downland crops up quite a lot, not just in these Wandering Minstrels episodes, but also in the 3 Dorset walking books that we've written. And that is for good reason, because chalk runs under almost a third of the county. The Dorset Downs are the western tip of a huge chalk band stretching right across southern England, from here through Cranbourne Chase and Salisbury Plain, all the way over to the South Downs.
Yeah, to the north of the Dorset Downs, they're bordered by the Blackmore Vale, where we took you in episode 7, when we explored Hambledon and Hod Hills.
And to the east, they meet Cranbourne Chase, and thousands of years ago, would you believe it, the two were actually connected?
I would believe it, yes, until the River Stour carved a valley through the chalk and separated them.
And then to the south, the chalk dips below sandy clay, known as the Bagshot Beds, which helped to form Dorset's distinctive heathlands.
Yeah, and just to finish, I promise, our mini geology lesson, the chalk actually does reappear south of those beds in a narrow but very important strip.
Which just so happens to be the chalk ridge of our beloved Isle of Purbeck.
So hopefully that little introduction puts us where we are geographically, but also geologically into context.
Yes, we thought it was important because it is that chalk geology that's really shaped the character of the landscape here on the Dorset Downs over thousands of years that humans have been interacting with it.
Yeah, the nature of the chalk downland means that it's incredibly sparsely populated. And in fact, a whopping 98% of the Dorset Downs and Cranbourne Chase are just open countryside.
So for anyone needing help with the maths there, that means that just 2% of this rolling landscape is actually inhabited by us humans. And that, dear John, sounds like a perfect, peaceful place to spend a bit of time exploring, does it not?
It does. Care to join us?
Let's, off we go.
Off we go, off we go. Tally-ho.
As clouds did ride with hasty flight, and woods did sway upon the height, and blades of grass did shake below, the hedgerow brambles swinging bough. I come back home where winds did swell in whirls along the woody glades, on primrose beds in windy shades, to Burnley's dark tree dell. And as the river bend by bend to drain our mead and market send, the hanging leaves do take our cows, and trees do shade 'em with their boughs, and I the quicker beat the road to see you coming into view, still greener from the skyline's blue, old Burnley Yard old.
Liscombe really is such a beautiful little place, but I can't believe we hadn't actually walked here until your dad introduced us to it. But my goodness, as soon as he did, we knew it was a place that we were going to come back to again and again.
Yeah. We've now climbed down from Lyscombe Hill, and we're down in the valley of Lyscombe Bottom.
So the name Liscombe is recorded from Saxon times, and it actually means Valley of Reeds, with Lisk being the Old English for reeds.
And Combe, you guessed it, being the Old English for valley or hollow.
Yes, and down here in this combe, you find the beautifully remote and ancient hamlet that takes its name from the valley.
So, we said that only 2% of the Dorset Downs are populated, and where there are villages and hamlets, they aren't generally found on the higher ground of the Downs, and instead they've tended to develop down in the valleys where springs and streams emerge from the permeable chalk.
Well, as you can see and possibly hear, one such stream has emerged, and this is the fantastically named Little Piddle. which acts as a tributary to the actual River Piddle, and its presence is probably the key reason that the hamlet of Liscombe existed.
Yeah, the Little Piddle is it's a permanent stream whose spring is actually just a little way up the valley here. But did you know, useless but very interesting piece of information coming up here, did you know that where you get porous rock like chalk, it holds its water in an aquifer, and it usually releases it at a steady rate through springs like this one, unless in a dry period the water table drops too low, and then during the summer the streams just dry up. Well, that type of stream is called a winterbourne, and that is a word that comes from the Old English winterberna, meaning winter stream, and sometimes a settlement built on such a stream takes the prefix winterbourne before its name, and it just so happens that there are a lot of winterbourne villages in this part of Dorset, all because of the chalk.
Okay, you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but okay, so just to be clear, the stream we're actually standing next to, this isn't a winterbourne.
I don't believe so, no.
No. So why are you talking about it?
Because of the chalk, and because it's fascinating. But look, anyway, I get the impression I'm being told to move on. So look, the earliest recorded mention of Liscombe is in a grant from King Athelstan to Milton Abbey in 934. And there's also mention of it in documents going back to 1311, where it's mentioned that it had 13 tenants.
And even though it only had 13 tenants, you can see behind us that it did and does have its own chapel, which is thought to date back all the way to the 12th century. So the priest's house next door remains a wreck, but the chapel itself was lovingly restored in 2005, and it had its first service in 500 years back in 2007.
Between the 12th and 17th centuries, over 4,000 parochial chapels like this were built for parishioners who lived too far from the main parish church to attend services. But despite being restored, the fact that this and the adjoining house became derelict in the first place is linked back to the landscape here and to its changing use since medieval times.
Now, in the Middle Ages, villages and farmsteads were almost certainly more densely packed on the Dorset Downs than today, and the population of this landscape would have almost certainly been higher back then.
Yeah, and the changing nature of how this area has been used by humans over the last 100 years or so has led to the landscape being dotted with deserted settlements and buildings much like this.
So we're going to talk more about the reason for that in a moment, but first things first, how about a song here, John? It is a lovely spot.
It is a lovely spot. Abandoned, tumble-down buildings being reclaimed by nature.
It can only be one song really, can't it?
The Weeds.
I look over this land and recall in my mind I was glad to those fields and happier times. So when gold corn and barley at the start of the spring, as we tilled her together and dreamt what our harvest would bring. I was foolish and weak and I cast you aside. Now our fields they have withered and my spirit has died. Now the wind whistles through the old mortar and stone, and I sit here and watch as the weeds lay their claim to our home. And they grow, grow, grow. They plot to overthrow. I've boarded the windows and given the deeds to the brambles, the creepers, the weeds. By the green poisoned ivy my house has been sacked, faces of my 3 children and crooked and cracked, and the big booted Andrew has salted the earth. So so that nothing can grow, at least nothing of any great worth. And they grow, 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 they plot to overthrow. I've boarded the windows and given the deeds to the brambles and creepers, the weeds. Now the golden is house as I sit here alone. It's all of my family that made it a home. If I'd only thought better at the start of the spring, we'd still have our fields and the hope of what autumn would bring. And they grow, 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 they plot to overthrow. I've boarded the windows and given the deeds to the brambles, the creepers, the weeds. And they grow, 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 they plot to overthrow. I've boarded the windows and given the deeds to the brambles, the creepers, the weeds. And they grow, 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 they plot to overthrow. I've boarded the windows and given the deeds to the brambles, the creepers, the weeds.
It's a bit ironic singing about the weeds in this perfectly immaculate, lovely garden here, this wonderful orchard, but...
It is. I think I can safely say I have never performed in an orchard before. Yeah, it's beautiful. What a lovely, lovely place to sing a song. So I think we should probably continue with the walk. We actually need to pack this stuff away first. I mean, for the eagle-eyed amongst you, we have not been carrying this on our backs. We've been very luckily allowed to leave a car with a cache of musical instruments.
You're ruining the smoke and mirrors here of television.
But I feel that our audience are not. Well, I feel they're intelligent. That's what I'm trying to say, Jay. And I think they may have noticed the absence of a harmonium. So that's what we're going to do now. But then we are going to continue the walk up around the beautiful bowl of Lyscombe Bottom.
Sweet yellow flowers here bloom, hung on the dark green broom. Hides our jewels out of sight, pale, smooth and glossy white. There's warmth in the air above, but nestled down deep, my love will wait while the days grow long, here where we both belong.
So for many thousands of years, this landscape would have been open and wild and used for the grazing of livestock.
Yeah, but in the years leading up to the agricultural depression of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, there was a marked switch to arable farming across the region.
But as the depression took hold, from the 1870s through to the 1930s, the rural population began to decline and people drifted away from the countryside in search of new opportunities elsewhere.
And it's almost certainly that population decline that's led to places like Liscombe Chapel falling into disrepair, because there simply wasn't a need to keep them maintained.
But then, when the Second World War arrived, there was, once again, a wide-scale drive toward the ploughing of downlands, like this one, due to the need to become more self-sufficient as a nation.
And since then, that expansion has continued at pace, driven mainly by developments in farm machinery and artificial fertilisers. Now, as beautiful as this landscape is, there's no doubt that the patchwork quilt of fields that you can see from above masks a fairly serious ecological problem for this landscape.
Absolutely. The intensity with which this area has been farmed over the last century has really had a detrimental effect on the natural habitats here, particularly the grasslands, which are now massively fragmented throughout the area.
But there's good news here in Liscombe, because changes are afoot. Changes that are going to have an enormous impact on the future of this landscape.
For all the birds upon the wing, between the sunny showers of spring, for all the lark swinging high that sings below the cloudless sky, sparrows clustering round the bough that chatter to the meadow plough, the blackbird singing in among the boughs to sing the sweetest song. When nipping winds no more do blow from northern skies with sleet and snow, we do hear the blackbird sing his sweetest ditties in the spring.
So, we've climbed out of Liscombe Bottom and we're now just north of where we started. We're stood at the meeting point of 5 ancient tracks. This is the Dorsetshire Gap.
Yeah, also simply known as Dorset Gap. It's been a key junction in the county for centuries. In fact, until the 19th century, this was one of the most important crossroads in central Dorset.
Now, what looks like footpaths now were once major routes. The steep cuttings going in all directions here have been worn into the chalk by generations of travellers, livestock and carts.
Yeah, these tracks linked the Ridgeway trails with the old drove roads heading north.
It wasn't built as a crossroads, it just evolved into one over centuries, and people naturally flowed with the contours of the land, and over time gentle dips became deep gullies or holloways, as they're also called.
Yeah, and very much like Liscombe Chapel, these paths no longer serve their original purpose. The hustle and bustle of an ancient travel hub has been replaced with the soft footfall of occasional ramblers.
And so, having spent most of this walk talking about the area's past, it feels only right that we should end by talking about its future. John's already alluded to the fact that Liscombe is going through some changes at the moment.
Yes, one could say, as we stand at a physical crossroads, the landscape finds itself at a metaphorical one.
And in early 2024, Dorset Wildlife Trust, in partnership with Natural England, took ownership of over 300 hectares of land just south of here at Liscombe.
It's one of the largest land purchases the Trust has ever made.
The long-term plan here is to give more space back to nature, restoring habitats and supporting natural processes across the landscape.
But there's also a strong focus on access as well. The idea is to improve public routes and open up more of this area so that people can enjoy it without damaging what makes it special.
The land's being restored not necessarily back to how it was before the arable farming of this area began, but rather into something new, a place where wildlife, natural processes and people can all find space.
Dorset Wildlife Trust have said that they want to let nature lead the way, and the long-term hope is for Liscombe to become recognised as a National Nature Reserve, not just for its wildlife, but as a working example of how nature recovery can be done at scale.
Now, the rewilding of Liscombe is in the very early stages, but the Trust say some of the changes are already visible because barn owls have returned, enticed by the rise in small mammals across the fields and the hedgerows. And the area has just started to feel a little bit more wild.
Yeah, they say these early signs of recovery are a testament to the land's resilience and its potential for regeneration.
What a lovely sentiment to finish this first half on.
Right, another song?
Why not?
Okay, how about Overthrown? Because this was a song written about nature reclaiming another piece of chalk downland a little further south. But given we're stood on the same band of chalk, I think we can get away with it. And whilst the album version of this was recorded using the piano, I did actually write it on the ukulele. So we're going to attempt to remember that version for you now.
Passing clouds, thin veil unbroken, drifting on the ocean beneath the standing stones. Fleeting day unravels, unfolds, the sun reveals with gold a fortress overthrown. Henge and hill fort, mound and tower, overthrown by grass and flower. Shadows shift through chalk stream and vale, orchids trim the ancient trail to crumbling spire. Henge and hill fort, mound and tower, overthrown by grass and flower. Wild fields grow in rough hues of brown, patchwork trace the barrow downs, a quilt bestowed on time. Henge and hill fort, mound and tower, overthrown by grass and flower. Henge
What a beautiful backdrop, just up out of Dorset Gap. I mean, it's an ancient crossroads that sees one occasional ramble every now and again, and then we got horse riders, mountain bikers and all sorts of people. So we thought we'd come somewhere slightly out of the way to film you that. And I'm kind of glad we did, actually, because what a lovely spot. Right, it's back to the other John Jay. We are coming back to Liscombe in the second half, but we're coming back for something a little bit different from our normal format. But we'll let them tell you about that in a little while. But for now, back to the studio.
What a beautiful start to the day. So we're going to be heading back there in the second half of the show to have a chat with Rob Farrington with the wonderful title of Head of Wilder Landscapes for Dorset Wildlife Trust about all the work that they're doing in the area.
I bet they were, when they advertised that role, I bet they were just inundated with people. I mean, I don't have a background in conservation and I want to apply for a job with that title. Thoroughly interesting and charming chat, Rob. So we're looking forward to that later on. Right. Where are you joining us from, everybody? This is the point in the show where we say join the Barrowbods chat thread over on Facebook and let us know where you're tuning in from. Comments, fingers, yes. We're obviously broadcasting this on YouTube, and YouTube does have a kind of comments thing, doesn't it? But it's kind of difficult. If you're watching on your TV, you can't really comment because it just kind of, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? So we run an official chat thread over at our Facebook group, which has been going, oh gosh, I think our Facebook group's nearly been going a decade now. It has just blossomed into an amazing community of like-minded people. I think we've got about 2,500 people in that group.
Nattering to each other all year round, not just on our broadcasts. So if you're not a member yet, head on over there and do let us know where you're tuning in from. Right, what's next? Well, this show might be called Ninebarrow Wandering Minstrels, but from the very first episode, we were very clear in our minds that we didn't want them just to be about Ninebarrow and about our music. Ninebarrow and friends.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah, an opportunity to share music and news from beyond the bounds of Ninebarrow HQ. And we've got a real treat for you next because a little earlier we hooked up with our good mate and double bassist extraordinaire, John Parker, to talk about his many musical projects. He is
in demand.
He is one of the most in-demand session musicians in the UK folk scene, and rightly so, because he's an amazing double bassist. But I actually think the reason he's in such high demand is because everybody wants to hang out with him because he's just such a lovely bloke.
We say that about the folk scene a lot, don't we? It's the nicest scene in the world, but there are some people that are even nicer than everybody else.
Yeah, top tier nice. Mr. John Parker. He can put that on his next poster. There you go. So let's see what John had to say about his many musical projects a little bit earlier.
These hills, trusted those men, we thought wise, carried on believing lies for a time. A mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound.
JP, welcome.
Hello.
It is lovely to see you, as always. How are you, sir? You good?
Slightly tired, but yeah, all good. Lovely to see your lovely faces. It's been a while.
It has been a little while. Right, should we dive in?
Straight into the questions.
Let's do it.
That's enough small talk, is it?
That's
okay.
it, that's the small talk.
Okay, fine. A couple of questions, if I may, to start off things. So, what made you think that picking up an enormous, oversized violin was going to be a good idea? And the second part to that is, did you ever imagine that picking up said instrument would end you up being so integral to the English folk scene at any point?
No. Is that a good answer?
Yes. Succinct, we should move on.
Yeah, exactly. The double bass. Ooh, why? I don't know why I picked it up. I mean, basically, I just always loved it. Like visually, it's a beautiful thing.
Very true.
And I saw who became my teacher, John Thorne, play double bass, and I was just like, oh man, I want to do that. Like what he can do, that like Danny Thompson, that big boom sound you can't do on electric bass. And I was hooked, and that was it. And my course went out the window, and I spent 8 hours a day going, why can't I play this thing in tune? What was the second question?
Oh, about being such an integral part of the English folk scene.
No, I wanted to be in Metallica. But
You swerved.
I swerved. Yeah, I turned down the £1 million, the $1 million, and thought, no, I want to play folk music. I don't know how it all happened, really. I think my band, Nisloppy, sort of crossed over in those worlds of acoustic music. You just end up playing with so-and-so and so-and-so, and then you just end up being part of it's John.
I was going to follow this up with a question about was there a musician or a specific moment that made you think that this is what you want to do? I mean, you've mentioned Danny Thompson there, who many people will know. I mean, was he a key influence for you in your formative years?
100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, I was studying jazz music in Manchester, and I moved to Brighton. And I wrote Danny Thompson a letter, old school, got his address, wrote him a letter, didn't put my address, didn't put my phone number. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to say, man, your bass playing is just like, it rocks my world. That's all I hear when I pick up a double bass.
Please won't you bear in mind for me? Oh, may you never lay your head down without a hand to hold.
And he tracked me down. He got hold of my phone number, and he left a message in like proper Cockney. Whatcha, lads? How you doing? All right, John. It's Danny Thompson. And I actually just thought it was a friend of mine taking the mick. So I didn't return the call. And then he rang again, and we had a really like deep friendship for quite a long time, in and around John Martin's death, and we were playing the same sort of festivals. So we spent a lot of time together. Yeah, I suppose he is the man for me, really.
Circling back a little bit to that first question that I asked about you having lots of fingers and lots of pies, so we say, in the folk scene, including Ninebarrow's pie.
Including Ninebarrow's pie, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the pie.
You're fully part of the pie. You're a tasty part of the pie, indeed. So, what do you think makes a great session musician, which you are?
Oh, that's very kind. I tell you, I think it's really simple. I think it's doing the homework, like having enough self-respect and respect for the people you play with to learn their songs, learn their music, turn up with ideas, loving what they're doing, hopefully, but having listened and learned and practiced so that when you get together, you're not just all going, yeah, it's C, and I think it goes to G, and all that's done. And it's like, how do we connect, and how do we make music together, rather than how do we teach this guy to play our songs, which he hasn't bothered to listen to.
Do you find that do you have to adapt a lot for each different act that you work with, or is there like a core JP that is there in every session?
I mean, the core JP is the enthusiastic one. As Steve Knightley kept calling me the Duracell bunny. It just changes. Like I think a lot of being a musician is almost reading the other people. You can tell when someone likes what you play and when someone's like, oh, it's too busy, or he's in the way, or I'm trying to sing and he's playing a third above me. That's so irritating. You can see it in the body.
You're talking about me, I can tell.
No, I wouldn't dare play thirds in Ninebarrow. And you shouldn't really be shouldn't stick out, and I tend to stick out quite a lot. But you know, people should walk away from the gig going, "That song really moved me," not "God, the bass player's really excitable." I do get a lot.
I mean, you're mostly a session musician now, but I mean, I think some of the people watching will know, and you've already mentioned it, that you used to be in a duo, Loppy.
Looking to the world, it seems the suffering is raging on now. We all are wondering if we can build now.
We've got to now kind of, we probably should say to people that there's a bit of a weird timeline thing here, because you're all watching this in January, but we're recording this interview in November, and we're about to talk about things with JP that he hasn't done yet, but by the time you watch this, they will have happened.
And the rest of our show was recorded in July.
And the rest of our show was recorded a little bit earlier. So my hair is quite different from how it was about 10 minutes ago. And when we cut back to us in a moment, my hair is going to be different again. There's continuity issues all the way through this episode, and we are really sorry about that. But anyway, moving on, we are currently on the precipice of a pretty important anniversary for you and Luke, your old partner in crime, because almost exactly 20 years ago, you released a song called the JCB song, and some people may be familiar with this. Some people may not, and they may not know that the JCB song in December 2005 was a #1 single in the UK singles chart. Now,
Not the folk chart.
Not the folk chart.
Real life
it
singles
is
chart.
a platinum. It is a platinum selling single in the UK.
And we're holding up the bypass. Oh, me and my dad having a top laugh. Oh, I'm sitting on the toolbox. Oh, and I'm so glad I'm not in school bus. So glad I'm not in school. Said I'm Luke, I'm 5 and my dad's Bruce Lee. Drives me round in his JCB. I'm Luke, I'm 5 and my dad's Bruce Lee. Drives me round in his JCB. I'm Luke, I'm 5 and my dad's Bruce Lee. Drives me round in his JCB.
And you only missed out on the Christmas #1 to, who was it?
Shane Ward.
Shane Ward, yes, from like X Factor or something like that, wasn't
Yes.
it? Or one of those shows. I mean, that is kind of amazing, and you're re-releasing that track this December. What's it been like to revisit that after so much time? And what's the kind of the mixture of emotions that you must be feeling doing that?
It's a light question. I mean, to be honest, I think me and Bradley, who's managing us at the moment, who was my bass tech, we just love vinyl, and we were just like, Loppy isn't on vinyl anywhere. How do we make this happen? And so we've been plotting and scheming all year, and then we realised 20 years. That's a good reason. So that, selfishly, it was so we could have our music on vinyl. And then me and Luke, on and off since the band split, have done shows, have done weddings, and did a private show in London. And then recently we did 2 shows in a row, which is a lot. I mean, more than anything, it highlights just how unfit I am, because I have to beatbox and play double bass in 2 hours. And emotionally, it's a beautiful thing. Like, you know, for me and Luke, it's well documented, our band just disintegrated, basically, and more than anything else, the worry was that we could never repair our friendship, really. We were best friends since we were 12, 13, and it was touch and go. We let business and touring relentlessly get in the way, and it says something that we are now able to very happily play music together and respect each other's very different approaches to everything, really. This won't be the last time we'll be playing together, so, you know, it'll become more regular fixture. Yeah.
And speaking of which, I gather that
you will have recently been playing some slightly bigger audiences.
So people they may have heard this by the time January comes around, but you have just announced that you and Luke, as Nisloppy, you are going to be supporting Ed Sheeran on his arena tour in December. Now we are talking like 30,000 plus arenas which are sold out. You sometimes play in a barn with Ninebarrow to 22 people. How the heck has this come about? Because I think this needs explaining, really.
How did it come about? So essentially, once Ed has always Ed was our guitar tech. He wasn't a very good guitar tech, and he would open show for us back in the day, a long time ago. And there was just something, he was good. He was really good. He was a bit like Luke, really. He was very good at getting the crowd singing along. And he had some good songs. We're like, yeah, this guy's pretty good. And but he's obviously gone on to become very, very big, very popular, and sell a lot of records. And he just keeps crediting us. So his record label have publicly said, Ed, shut up about Nisloppy. Nobody cares. Just stop. But he won't. He's like a one-man PR team, and we were his Desert Island disc. He covers one of our songs, and yeah, he does a vinyl review thing, I think, on Instagram, and we messaged him and said, would you be up for reviewing our first record on vinyl in that show? Is it sort of, if he'd said I can't, or no, actually I don't really like you, then we would have got less copies made. And he said yes, and we thought, brilliant, that's it, we'll get a few hundred more done. There was some sort of joking around about us doing a show together, and then it just sort of spiraled, and then we are the main support.
Exciting stuff, and we are looking forward. We're looking forward to having you back down to Dorset in the not too distant future. Mate, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. I think lovely for people to get to hear you talk, because
Don't give you a mic, do we, on stage?
You don't get a mic on stage. I mean, God knows what would happen if we did that. But
yeah. That's the problem. A lot of people remove the mic. Steve Knightley, I had a mic, and then it wasn't there. So yes, very wise.
Mate, take care. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, happy 2026.
Lovely to hang out with John for a little bit again. We can't wait to see him again in the summer. We normally get to hang out in person most of all in our musical walking holidays. He comes down to Purbeck pretty much every year.
I think he's been at every single musical walking holiday since the beginning, actually. He's part of the furniture, part of the Ninebarrow furniture.
So if you want to find out a bit more about his various musical projects, he's quite prolific on social media, is our John. So any of the socials, Instagram and Facebook in particular, you'll find his fascinating feeds about what he likes, as well as his book, what he likes to read as well. That's what I'm kind of fascinated.
He does a lot of reading, JP.
Yeah.
Shares a lot of information about what books he's reading. But if you type in John Parker double bass, it should come up on Facebook and Instagram. Right, so more of JP to come up here, because we're now going to dive head first into the Ninebarrow gig archive. Many of you know we've got a repository over at the website of all of the online broadcasts. Well, in fact, no, not all of them. That's a lie. I'm a liar there. It's a good chunk of them. I haven't put all of them in. A good chunk of them. But if we wind back the clock to 2020, we were due to be on tour with the Ninebarrow band, which would have included JP on double bass, Lee Mackenzie on cello, and Evan Carson on percussion. And I think it was postponed, and then just finally cancelled because we just couldn't make the dates work.
It was a boring game.
It was a very boring game.
Rearranging all the dates repeatedly.
Yes, I remember it well. But we were very fortunate. We have an art centre locally called Lighthouse Pool, who were very, very supportive, have been very supportive of Ninebarrow since the very beginning. But during this period, they offered up their theatre. for us to come and put on a socially distanced Ninebarrow band show. You'll notice when you see the footage coming up, we are all very, very far apart on the stage, and that's because that's the way it had to be done. But there was a big team of people that helped us bring this gig together. Obviously the band, we had our producer there, Mark Tucker, we had his assistant, Matt Taylor, we had our regular sound guy, Richard Hewlett, we had the team from the Lighthouse doing all of the lighting and helping us out.
All socially distanced.
All socially distanced.
Thankfully, it was a very big theatre with no one else in it apart from us. So,
yeah, we could all have 100 seats each because that's how many seats there were. But it was an amazing experience, an incredibly intensive couple of days setting up and then recording the show on the second day. And we thought, given that we've just chatted to JP, it'd be lovely to share a track from that show which he was involved in. So this is Under the Fence.
My hat is frozen to my head. My heart is like a lump of lead. We're stranded out here, half starved, half dead, standing under the fence. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, it's a cold, heavy, windy night. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, won't you open up and let her in? Oh, 3, 4. 4,000 miles of foreign lands, we brave the roads, the cedar sands, while politicians wash their hands, standing under the fence. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, it's a cold, heavy, windy night. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, won't you open up and let her in? Oh, in a freezing tent, the girl, she sleeps while muddy snow around her heaps, and his misery was cold and deep, standing under the fence. So let her in. The man, he cried, it's a cold, heavy, windy night. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, won't you open up and let her in? Oh, but the girl still dreams of friends and school, but life is harsh and fate is cruel. Methinks no one should have dreams at all, standing under the fence. So let her in. The man, he cried, it's a cold, heavy, windy night. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, won't you open up and let her in? Oh, but the girl still laughs, a smile bright, his lantern in the fading light. Down to watch her walk, she sleeps tonight, standing under the fence. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, it's a cold, heavy, windy night. Oh, let her in. The man, he cried, won't you open up and let her in? Oh, is frozen to my head. My heart is like a lump of lead. We're stranded out here, half starved, half dead, stranded under the front soul.
So if you like what you heard there, you can find the whole concert in all its glory over on our gig archive on the Ninebarrow website.
In 4K, high definition, everybody. Oh yes, and you can also get the live album as well. Part of the reason for having our producer Mark at that event was that he wasn't just dealing with the broadcast audio, he was capturing it so that it could be fully remastered and put on a live album as well. So you can also get that over at the Ninebarrow shop. Right, it's back to Liscombe, everybody. At this point, normally we'd just say, right, back to the second half, and Jay and I would appear. Well, it's only going to be me appearing because we had some childcare issues on this particular day, so Jay had to toddle off to go and deal with Joshua, and it was left to me to man the fort with Rob Farrington from Dorset Wildlife Trust. So let's head back to Liscombe and see what the head of Wilder Landscapes had to say about the work they are doing over there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Liscombe and welcome back to the chapel. We've come back down from Dorset Gap and I'm here with Rob Farrington. Now, you have quite an epic title, I think. Is it Head of Wilder Landscapes?
It is, yeah, and it's exactly as fun as it sounds.
It is. I mean, that just sounds amazing. As we introduced a moment ago, we've been very, very fortunate that Rob's given up some time to talk about what is happening here at Liscombe, the exciting things that are happening. So I think this is the biggest land purchase the Dorset Wildlife Trust has ever been involved in. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but yes, let's go with yes. Yeah, we were involved in a partnership project that had a much bigger acquisition of part of the Camford estate as part of the Great Heath project. But yes, it is.
So it is quite an exciting.
Yes,
it's quite an
very much
exciting thing, and very much in its infancy at the moment. I think it's only really been you've been working on it. Is it a year now?
Yes, so we purchased the site last year, but you're right, it's in its infancy because we're in that kind of very exciting stage of planning what we're going to do.
Because I think we talked in the first half of this episode about the fact that kind of post-Second World War, intensive arable farming has really caused quite a lot of damage to the ecosystem here. But the thing is, you guys, I think, were actually involved in Liscombe in the 1970s.
Yeah, not me.
Not you personally, yeah. And I think the comparison between some of the surveys that were done then and some of the surveys that were done now have highlighted some quite worrying trends. Is that right?
Yeah, so you're right. So back in the late 70s, we were involved with the previous landowner, and as you say, we're doing ecological monitoring, and we've still got some of those ecological records, and it brought up things like turtle dove breeding here. Well, turtle dove are extinct as a breeding species in Dorset. It had willow tit breeding here. They're extinct as a breeding bird in Dorset. It had tree sparrow. They're extinct as a breeding bird in Dorset. It had nightingale. They are clinging on, but on the precipice. And lesser spotted woodpecker. They're clinging on. They're on the precipice. And it just goes to show how, for me, that incredibly depressing. That's not any kind of thing on this landowner. That's all of us. Yeah. All of us are implicit in that. And they have disappeared without much fanfare, quietly, across the whole of the county, and in some cases, whole swathes of the country. It's very easy for things to disappear. Yeah. And it's much more noticeable when things come back. So one of the interesting records in the 70s was the excitement of a common buzzard being seen here. And at the time, they were incredibly rare because they were on the precipice from...
Because I think nothing when I see a buzzard these days. I don't really think anything of it.
Yeah, so they were incredibly excited to see that and almost kind of breezed over those species that I just said now. If we had any of those species breeding here now, it would be it would be incredibly exciting. And so it's that the wider lesson, though, I think, is about embracing general species abundance. And we don't really understand what species abundance is. Kind of, if we go back a few generations, they would be laughing at us when we said, "Oh, we saw, or that this section of the river's got loads of river flies, or a big flock of starlings." They would be laughing at us because we've forgotten what the true abundance looks like. And so that's to be celebrated, because we can't always just think, well, we've got to be focused on these rare things, because we're at risk of anything becoming rare at any time.
I mean, you talk, I think, as the Dorset Wildlife Trust talks about this being a rewilding project, I think.
Yeah, we kind of.
How do you rewild a landscape like this?
What we're trying to do at Liscombe, as opposed to a site like Wild Woodbury, which is very much a rewilding site. So there we're trying to work with nature as much as possible and be as hands-off as possible. Now that, in this country, with infrastructure and our lack of some of our megafauna and graziers, it's hands-off as possible. That doesn't mean hands-off. No. Here we're trying to blend it a bit more with more kind of traditional conservation. And that's because not only have we got some very special designated historic sites here, we've got some very special designated ecological sites here that we want to maintain as they are. But I think the really exciting opportunity that Liscombe gives us is to try and blend this new thinking of how do we use natural processes, so rewilding, to restore nature, and at the same time show that we can also look after these designated important historic or ecological designations at the same time.
Because I think the long-term hope is for this to be recognised as a national nature reserve.
Yes, yeah, correct. Or maybe a short or medium-term aim is for that to be the case. But I mean, how you use natural processes in a site like this, I suppose you really be looking at three main things. You'd be looking at trying to get the hydrology, so how the water moves through the site, more natural. And again, more natural is the key.
The Little Piddle has been...
the brilliantly named Little Piddle.
It's wonderful, but it has been, I think, over the last 100 years or so, it has been, its route's been changed, and I think you guys are trying to return it to a more natural...
yes, and that's not unusual. That's all of our rivers, pretty much, in Dorset or in England. They have been moved, and for perfectly good reasons most of the time. But yes, the Little Piddle, which we're looking down on here, this section that we're looking at here, has been dug for a reason. Now, in this specific reason, that the structure you can see there is a listed fish hatch. So it's
brilliant. I have footage of this. I'm going to cut away to it.
Yeah, there we go. So it was originally made, we think, and Historic England think, as a fish pond. So the monks and lay people that were working this chapel and this area here had food source here.
Right. Because it is quite isolated, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we talked about that in the first half. It is isolated, and it seems like a strange place.
Yes.
To have.
Well, we're about halfway between Milton Abbey and Cerne Abbey. So that's why it's here. Yeah. It's that halfway point. But yes, people have always kind of utilised the rivers and water for their own ends. So a lot of what natural processes approach, a rewilding approach, is trying to do is trying to undo that as much as possible where it's reasonable. So obviously we're not going to try and flood someone's house or a road or something. So where reasonable, where can we do that to restore some of those processes and make the river function more naturally, and try and decide what it was.
Because you only have the memory of the people that can tell you about it.
Yes.
And I would imagine with something like this, written records are probably fairly few and far between, are they?
Yes, I think so, because and a lot of the time that's what they were writing records about. But we've got clues here. So the name Liscombe is Old English Anglo-Saxon, which literally means the valley, combe, where the reeds grow, Lisk.
I'm so glad you said exactly what we said in the first
Yeah.
half, because if you were going to say something different,
Yeah.
it would make me look
I
like
could have said
made me look
something
like a
different.
charlatan.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't mean that might not have been reeds, as in the species that we think of reeds. It might have been sedges or rushes, but certainly it gives a picture of a wet place, doesn't it? So it might, it might not have been it kind of functions as a chalk stream now, but it might have been more of a kind of calcareous, a chalk fen.
Right.
I mean,
More
that's
of a
open,
wetland,
yeah, that's
yeah.
open to interpretation. But we haven't, as yet, as I said, we haven't quite yet worked out what we're going to do, what the interventions we're going to do there. So more natural hydrology. The other thing is allowing natural succession. So that sounds quite complicated, but it's very simple, really. Most habitats are trying to become something else. They're in England, everything's
Heathland
slowly
is trying to become woodland.
Scrubland, yeah. So everything's in this area slowly trying to become a kind of temperate, kind of deciduous woodland of some description, and it's either humans or, in the case of the past, big megafauna graziers that are battling against that and holding it back and restarting the system, and that kind of constant changing mosaic, that battle is what gives you all these sweet spots where all these amazing wildlife species thrive in. And by our landscape's quite sterile at the moment because we like to keep things as they are. And we've got, as you said, we've got a very short societal memory of anything before our parents' generation. If we're lucky, our grandparents' generation. But anything before that, it's hard to fathom. It's always been like this. So that's got to be a woodland, that's got to be a reed bed, that's got to be an open field, that's got to be this. When actually, nature thrives in changing systems. And that's what, allowing that natural succession alongside more natural levels of grazing. And now we can't, at the moment, bring back things like the extinct mammoths or the extinct woolly rhinos we used to have
Great in
rocking
Liscombe
around.
to see that.
Yeah, but there are proxies we can use for extinct grazers. So in this country we used to have mammoth species, rhino species, bison species, but we also used to have aurochs, which is where we get modern cattle from, tarpan, which is where we get modern ponies and horses from, and boar, which should still be here.
Yeah.
And
it's starting to come back in kind of a few places, aren't they?
In a few places, not really in Dorset, but yes, around in other places. But those kind of having a suite of different types of grazing animals increases the kind of the dynamics, and that they all kind of have these weird relationships with each other, and which we're learning about more and more now. We have that in more places across the country, about what impact having ponies and the cattle, or pigs and ponies and their relationship. So it's about having a more natural level of grazing to kind of battle with that succession. And that's really the building blocks for me of rewilding: more natural hydrology, more natural grazing, and that battle between natural succession.
And so final question, because you've given a lot of your time already. Back in April, you launched the Trees for Tomorrow campaign, which I think quite a lot of the people watching will be familiar with, because we tried to do our part to support that, because we like planting trees, as many people know. I think it'd be really interesting just to finish understanding how that project, which was that fundraising campaign, which was very successful, is going to impact here at Liscombe.
So
because it's being there are other sites that are also going to benefit as well.
And so some of those that have already benefited is the site, a relatively new site for us that we purchased maybe 3 years ago at West Holme, where a lot of tree planting has already been done because of that campaign. Liscombe, there will be, because we're still in that planning phase, and we're still working out where the best places would be, and the other things we're trying to do here is we've got these lovely chalk downland areas, and some of our neighbours have also got chalk downland areas, and we are working with the farmers in the farm cluster surrounding here, looking at how we can all work together to create connectivity between these habitats. So there are some places that we want that kind of chalk downlands to join together, and other places where we'd be more happy for scrubby or wooded areas, and we're still just putting the finishing touches onto where that might be. before knowing exactly where the planting will happen.
And so the planting is being used essentially to link sections of the landscape together.
Yeah, but also for linking species. So there's a wonderful butterfly that used to be found here called the Duke of Burgundy, which is a butterfly that and I'll say we think, because we think to the best of everyone's knowledge likes kind of is quite fussy, and likes sheltered, wooded, scrubby areas with lots of species-rich grassland as well, in particular cowslips. Now they are nearby here, but the habitat in between is an open field.
Right.
So that is highly likely going to be one of the places we will be doing some planting, because we can create a corridor for them to get back.
Right. Okay. Oh, it's. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, we've been filming here over the last 4 weeks, I suppose, and seeing the developments over in the yard, which I don't think we haven't cut away to the yard much during the first half, but I'm going to go and get some footage. If you can hear some banging over there, it is the work that is taking place on the old farmyard over here. Some of the buildings are being remodelled and some are being taken down, and obviously Rob's already mentioned the opening up of the chalk stream down there. So I'm going to go down there in a moment, and hopefully I'll interweave some footage of what's going on over there to put that banging in context that you can hear in the background. Rob, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
It's been fascinating. It's been wonderful getting to explore this landscape and coming to film here. So thanks for your support with that, but also thanks for giving us an insight into the work that's going on here, and we wish you the very best for the
problem.
future.
Thank you.
Good interview, John. Well done.
Thank you.
You didn't leave me after all.
I think that was genuine praise, everybody. I'm going to take that one to the bank. I have to say, when I was in, the thing is, we've never done an interview like that before as part of these shows. It'd be really, really interesting to know what you thought, because if you'd like us to do more of that type of thing,
More Jay.
Yeah, less John, more Jay. No. What I mean is, would you like us to maybe expand on what we currently do and not just talk to musicians, but go and find other people to talk to as well? I have to say, I found it fascinating. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments.
Thanks to Dorset Wildlife Trust for letting us do that and for being so supportive with us as well.
Yeah.
So, and if you would like to learn a little bit more about what's going on, you can head over to their website at dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk.
Yes. Now, I forgot at the end of that interview, I was actually meant to introduce the next segment and didn't, because we've actually recorded one more song down at Liscombe. We only usually do 2, but we thought it was so beautiful down there, we thought we'd do a third. So we recorded this one a little bit earlier in the day, and we thought it'd be lovely to go back to the orchard where we recorded the weeds. And what song do you pick when you finish an interview on a tree planting project? A Pocketful of Acorns. It's the only choice, really. So let's head back over to Liscombe for one more song.
The pine trees grow in tidy rows, all trained towards the distant sky. And in a blink, they're tall enough for man's needs to supply. But soft, swift flesh it cannot last, so brisk and nimble was the climb. And quickly as a mood or thought, the tender wood is lost to time. And I have a pocket full of acorns, I hold the mighty oak tree in my hands, and with every seed I sow the future of these lands. When the robin's young is fledged and flown, the magnolia tree with knotted limb extends to us a pretty promise, all attention paid to him. But to reach and touch this promise is to break his beguiling spell, to see behind the blossom the crooked wood he sells. And I have a pocket full of acorns. I hold the mighty oak tree in my hands, and with every seed I sow the future of these lands. Of the forest, they've seen their share of winter's cold, drank their fill of summer storms, and listened to life's stories told. Their roots go deep in English earth, they twist and braid our country's past. With timber strong they'll guard our future, beam and bow and deck and mast. And I have a pocket full of acorns. I hold the mighty oak tree in my hands, and with every seed I sow the future of these lands. And with every seed I sow the future of these lands.
Oh, lovely to come back to the Liscombe Chapel Orchard for one final song today. Well, it has been a beautiful, beautiful day out here. We hope you've enjoyed joining us. We've got to say a massive thank you to Dorset Wildlife Trust for allowing us to come out to the Liscombe Nature Reserve to film, and obviously to Rob Farrington for giving up his time to do that wonderful interview that you have just seen. That's not it, though. I'm pretty sure the other John and Jay have got something else for you back in the studio, but
just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more. But from us, it's goodbye for another Wanderings, and we'll see you
on the next yomp.
We'll see you on the next yomp.
Oh, right, everybody, that's almost it for Wandering Minstrels episode 10. So thank you so much for joining us. But before we go, we have got a few parish notices and, of course, the raffle.
We are, for the first time in 3 years, I think, remembering to do the raffle draw rather than having to tack it on at the last moment. If you're not familiar with what the Great Ninebarrow Raffle is, everybody who supports us by buying one of Jay's beautiful calendars gets entered into a free prize draw to win a beautiful hand-framed print of one of the photos from that calendar, or indeed any previous calendar as well. It's our way of saying thank you for supporting us in the way that you guys do. Everybody knows that musicians who put their music on streaming platforms make no money from streaming. So we try and provide you with other opportunities to support us, and calendars is one of the really great ways that many of you do so. So it's time for the draw, everybody, and we have here the
hanky holder of happiness.
Okay, hanky holder of happiness. We thought it'd be nice to include
like receptacles.
A bit of Josh's paraphernalia. I think last year was the salad spinner of suspense, but I think this is an upgrade, everybody.
Yeah. Shall we? So it comes replete with a variety of things. Hankies that come out. There's quite a few of them in there. Josh likes pulling them out. Have we got there? No? There's more? There's more. Right.
I think
okay.
Okay. I'll get my Come on. I'm trying to pick up one. I can't pick. Okay, there we go. It's 114, everybody. It's Raffle number 114. Thank you so much. If you can, well, email us at info@ninebarrow.co.uk. Maybe with like a photo of yourself holding the winning raffle ticket.
It's a trust thing, I suppose, isn't it? We trust.
We've
you
never had
guys.
more than one person claim the prize, to be honest.
Try it on.
Don't give them ideas, Dave. Don't give them ideas. Right, just a few more notices before we let you go.
So the biggest one is we're going to be launching the dates of our 2027 musical walking holidays very, very soon on the 18th of January, everybody.
Yes, indeed. In fact, the dates are up on the
They are,
website
of course,
already.
they are
It's your ability to book places on 2027, which is going to be launched 9 a.m. on the 18th of January. You will need to sign up over at the Walking Holidays website in advance. We are, as always, already pretty booked up even before the launch because the 2025 guests got the opportunity to rebook when they joined us. So
One of the holidays, the entire outfit wanted
literally,
to come.
they got on so well, the guests. Every single one of them rebooked and came and wants to come in 2027. So that holiday is fully booked already. So we've got limited places available. So do make sure you got your alarm set for 9 a.m. on the 18th of January. The musical lineup, everybody. Again, we've probably popped that up at over at the website anyway, but if you're not aware of the musical lineup, who have we got? Well, we've got the Ninebarrow Trio on the Monday. JP's coming down to join us. On the Tuesday, we've got Christina Alden and Alex Patterson, and also banjo master Dan Walsh for our afternoon concert. Our evening concert on the Tuesday, we've only got Phil Beer, everybody. Oh my goodness. I thought we couldn't outdo ourselves with Bob Fox.
Our Tuesday legend
in
spot.
2026, our Tuesday legend spot. But Phil Beer feels like that's a pretty, I'm pleased with myself. Let's just say I'm pleased with myself. Wednesday, who have we got? We've got Jackie Oates duo, Jackie Oates and Mike Cosgrove. We've got Luke Jackson, who, if you're not familiar with his music, wow, he has got a voice and a half. And who have we got on the Thursday? We've got Will McNichol. He has also been involved in every single Ninebarrow musical walking holiday. And then to finish things off, we've got the fabulous Gilmore Roberts finishing up our Thursday night concert. More music than ever before. We are really packing in some fabulous stuff, and it would be lovely, lovely to be able to welcome you up to Purbeck in 2027. What else have we got?
Oh, we're going to be on tour again in March, aren't we? We're going to be starting up again.
Well, actually, yes. I think it's kind of the tour is slightly more spread out than just March. I think it's kind of.
I suppose, yeah. As in last autumn, it was. We call it a tour, but it's basically one date at a time.
A sporadic set of dates so that we can get home to have cuddles with Josh. That's basically how that's working at the moment. All the dates are over at the website. So not many of them this spring. So probably I think about seven or 8 are up there. So do come and join us for those.
And last but not least, we have got another Ninebarrow Live from HQ concert, which is coming up on the 7th of March. And will it be in this HQ? Will it be in another HQ?
It'll be, yeah. I mean, how does anyone manage to move house in this country? I just don't understand it. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, we're still here at the moment. We might be in a new HQ, but whatever happens, there will be a live stream and it will be from somewhere, and it's going to be on the 7th of March. So hopefully we will look forward to seeing you out on tour or for that live stream. But once again, thanks so much for joining us this evening. We're going to send you into the night with some highlights from the 2025 musical walking holidays, and we thought we would accompany this with some music from the legendary Phil Beer. The music you're about to hear is Old Riley from his 2009 album Rhythm Methodist. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you down the road. Bye.
O'Reilly, Scully, Stallion, they call For they laid him down on that jailhouse ground with a lion chain around his neck. Old Riley's daughter got the message. Her father was going to hang. But she rode by night and came by morning with gold and silver in her hand. When the judge he saw Riley's daughter, his old eyes they deepened in his head. He said, gold will never free your father. Oh, the price, my dear, is you instead. Then I'm as good as dead, cried Riley. It's only you that he does crave. And my skin will surely crawl if he touches you at all. Oh, get on your horse and ride away. Oh, Father, you will surely die if I don't take the chance to try and pay the price and not take your advice. And for that reason I will have to stay. On the gallows shadows shed that evening. In the night a hell dog played. In the night the grounds were a-groaning. In the night the price was paid.
We really hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Ninebarrow Wandering Minstrels.
Creating these shows is a real labour of love for us.
And every episode takes well over a week to create.
First, there's writing the script.
Then there's a pre-shoot location visit to check out where we're going to film, when we usually capture some of the drone footage.
Then we rehearse.
And then we lug all of our gear out on location at sunrise and begin the hard work.
3 cameras, 1 drone, mobile lighting rigs, field audio recording equipment.
Instruments, a battery generator, the list goes on.
And then when we're done on location, we bring home about 200 gigabytes of footage which John then gets to work on in the editing suite.
And during the couple of days it takes to edit the show together, we usually hook up with some other folky bods to record an interview to include as well.
Every episode takes somewhere between 60 and 70 hours to create, and we love every single minute of it.
If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like us to continue sharing more stories, music, natural history and folklore, we'd be so grateful if you'd consider making a broadcast donation.
Or you can also support us by visiting our online shop. Every single item in it, from CDs to t-shirts, from framed prints to tea towels, they've all been designed with love and care by, well, us here at Ninebarrow HQ.
Help support us to keep bringing you new adventures and get something beautiful in return.
Because of you, we can keep investing the time and money needed to create episodes like the one you just watched and keep them free to air for everyone to enjoy.
Thank you so much for your support.